Hola chicos, en este video vamos a hablar de los backwards verbs. So, I've given this topic the nickname backwards verbs. You might not hear it called backwards verbs by anyone else, but I think it helps to understand it. Another name you might hear these type of verbs called are gustar-like verbs. Gustar is kind of the boss of all these verbs. It's the most popular, it's the most frequently used verb in this type. And so everything else is like gustar. Okay? So let's get into it right away. Just like the name implies, these verbs work in a backwards order. So backwards compared to what? Well, compared to what we're used to using in English. So for example, I could say school interests me, and we've seen the verb interesar before. So I might express this in a different way in English. I could say school is interesting to me. I could say I am interested in school, and that's all fine and dandy. But we're not learning English, we're learning Spanish. So we have to ask ourselves, not what does each individual word mean, but rather, how do I communicate this message in Spanish? If you don't have present in your mind that you are communicating a message and not translating words, this specific topic will become very difficult, I promise you, okay? So, here we go. We're going to discard all these other ways we can say it in English because it doesn't matter because we're not going to use English. What we are going to use is Spanish, and this is how we would communicate that idea. Me interesa la escuela. How did I get this from that? Well, let's look at the backwards thing. We're going to start with school is interesting somebody. Who is school interesting? It's interesting me. This could be changed out. Me interesa. It's interesting to me. Te interesa. It interests you. Le interesa. Interests ella. Then we have our verb. Interesa. You might say, well, why isn't it conjugated for me? Well, because I'm not verbing. I'm just kicking back and letting school interest me. School is performing the action. School is doing all the hard work. Therefore, we conjugate the verb for school. And then the word order, when we put it in a sentence, it goes at the end. So instead of being 1, 2, 3, we now have 3, 2, 1. So that's why I call them backwards verbs, okay? Let's try another one. Golf bores her. Now, we could say this different ways in English. We could say golf is boring to her, or she is bored by golf. And again, that's fine and dandy, but irrelevant. Okay? The most important thing to remember about this is you're probably going to want to say golf is boring. But always ask yourself, why am I doing, what's the objective to this activity? And if the activity is to show me you can handle a backwards verb, you probably shouldn't use this verb is, right? Because that's not a backwards verb. So, how would we say golf bores her? Well, we're going to start backwards. We're going to start with to her. We're going to next put our verb and then next put our subject. So to her would be le. Bores would be aburre. And golf. Again, we are conjugating golf. We are conjugating aburre for golf because she isn't doing anything except being bored by golf. Okay? Golf is doing all the hard work of just boring the heck out of her. But she's just hanging out. Okay? So let's look at some more examples. What we're noticing is that we're moving backwards with all these verbs, right? We're switching the sentence on its head. So now we have a new verb, gustar. Now, for some reason, as soon as we get to gustar, even though we've learned and we've mastered interesar and aburrir, students tend to throw everything they know out the window. I'm not sure why. So we want to make sure we're keeping the same rules that we just learned. If we were to translate gustar literally, it means to please. But in Spanish, we use gustar to talk about things that we like, okay? It doesn't mean to like, but that's how we use it. So again, that's how we communicate things we like. Here we go. We know the verb means to please. So if I were to write it out literally, I could say tennis pleases me. You probably wouldn't say that in English. You might choose one of the other options. I like tennis, or tennis is pleasing to me. But again, irrelevant. Doesn't matter. So get rid of them, okay? We're going to say tennis pleases me. We know that this is a backwards verb. So instead of going 1, 2, 3, I'm going to go 3, 2, 1. Me gusta el tenis. Okay? So, just with our arrows again, it's pleasing to me. So we've got our verb here. We've got our subject. Again, this is not translated for yo because I'm not doing anything. Tennis is pleasing me so much, but I'm not doing anything. So if you write me gusto, you're literally saying I like myself or I'm really pleasing to myself. That's quite an egocentric statement. So if you write me gusto, you're going to get a sad face, okay? Now, probably 1:30 you're going to be like, well, what if I really want to say that, okay? You guys know me. It's never going to be an answer on any of my evaluations, okay? So if you do write that, you're not going to get the points, all right? I need to know that you know that we conjugate the verb for whatever is pleasing, boring, or interesting. And in this case, it's tennis, okay? So here we go. Another new verb, encantar. Now, you can see some cognate action happening from enchant, encantar, okay? But we don't talk about things that are enchanting unless we're talking about stories. So what we're going to use this to talk about is things that we love, things that we really like. So, important detail here, this is not romantic love. This is the type of love that, like, I love comedians, talk shows. I think they're hilarious. I love them. I'm not in love with them, right? Or you love the color blue. I just think it's fantastic, okay? This is the kind of love we're talking about. Things that you really, really like. So, that's why we have to remember that it's not to love, but rather to enchant. Now, in Spanish, we're going to say something to the effect of, your shoes enchant me. Yes, sounds absolutely ridiculous. That's okay. We might say in English, probably, I love your shoes. We would not say, I'm enchanted by your shoes, because that would just be too crazy. But grammatically, it's possible. But we need to remember we're going to say it this way. Your shoes enchant me. So, instead of going 1, 2, 3, we're going to go 3, 2, 1. Here, it's important to realize where we break them. Your shoes counts as one object, okay? So, we started with me. Then we have our verb, and then we have your shoes. So here you can see tus zapatos is maintained because your shoes is one topic, okay? So now you might ask, why is it encantan instead of encanta if before it was gusta and interesa? Well, your shoes is plural. So if a plural object is doing an action, we better see a plural conjugation, okay? Now it's time to practice. Oh, one more thing. Sorry. We have me encanto. Me encanto is the same goofiness as me gusto. It means I love myself. I think I'm great. I'm fantastic. I enchant myself. Okay? Again, pretty egocentrical. All right? So, we're going to get rid of it. Now, time to practice. A practicar. So, in English, we would say, I like the color red. In Spanish, we're going to communicate that with the color red pleases break me. I love listening to music. This one's going to be trickier. When we talk about actions like eating vegetables is important. Running is good for your health. Listening to music, I don't know, makes you smarter. We're just going to go ahead and use the infinitive here, okay? So we're going to say, to listen to music enchants me, okay? English class bores me, and history programs interest me. Ooh, plural. So what I want you to do is pause the video, write these sentences in Spanish, and then unpause it and check your answers. So, here's your answers. Here we have the color red pleases me. So we're going to start out with me. Pleases, gusta, the color red, el color rojo. I love listening to music. Alright, so listening to music pleases me, me, enchants, encanta. To listen to music, escuchar música. Remember, we never escuchar a música. English class bores me. Me aburre la clase de inglés. So 1, 2, 3. 3, 2, 1. History programs interest me. 1, 2, 3. Now we'll go 3, me. 2, interesan. 1, history programs. Los programas de historia. That's all there is to it. It's super important to remember that it's A, a backwards verb. It's going to work in a different order. And B, you cannot translate these word for word. You will confuse yourself way more. You have to understand the idea. Okay? So all you need to know, what's great about these verbs, is you only need to know two conjugations. The singular, gusta, and the plural, gustan. Or in this case, encanta and encantan. Okay? And that's it. Well, good luck. Do your extra homework that goes with it, and we'll see you next time. Bye!